We are on the air.
Okay. Okay, can we have we're going to start out with an opening prayer.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day and thank you for this opportunity, dear Lord, to come together as a community and come together as a family. Dear Lord, we just pray that you'll give us the wisdom to make the decisions that we feel is the correct decision based on your will. And dear Lord, we just pray that you'll be with each one of us tonight and let us leave here and get home safely. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And pledge.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I call to order the July 14th meeting of the Upson Planning and Zoning Commission. We need to look at the roll call. Let's do the roll call here.
Commissioner Hilton, Chairman Fallon,
Here.
Commissioner Martin,
Here.
Vice Chair Steve,
Here.
and Commissioner Louis. Chairman, we have roll call.
Okay, thank you. All right, we get on look at the minutes. Does anybody have any opposition to the previous meeting's minutes?
I make a motion that we receive the minutes last month.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, we had old business typically we start with, but to keep from holding up the ones here with new applications, I'm going to swap them. We're going to go to new business, and then we'll come back to the amendments that we've been working on to speed up things a little bit. And the first thing we got is application for modification to special exception SPX 2025-03, applicant and property owner Willie Quiller, 536 Gordon School Road, parcel 046A017 is AR special event venue to add ATV activities SBX 2023-3 on his 10.25 acres. Mr. Doug, you have a presentation on this? Pearl, okay.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission and everyone present here. Again, my name is Pearl Siriam Asamoah, a graduate student from Auburn University, interning underdog career at the Building and Zoning Department. This evening, I'm gonna give a presentation about the SPX 2025-03, which is a request submitted by Mr. Willie Quiller on the 6th of June 2025, seeking for a modification to his previously approved special exception to include ATV activities as part of an indoor-outdoor special event. This property is located on 536 Gordon School Road on a 10.25 acreage zoned as AR, which is agricultural residential. Also, the parcel does not lie within a special flag area. On site, we found out that there are single-family houses, wooded, clear areas, pavilions, and ATV track. To the north of the property is a pine plantation. To the east is wooded with a single-family house. And then to the south is also wooded with a single-family house. And then to the west is a pine plantation as well. And all are zoned AR, which is agricultural residential. The current character area map designation for Quiller's property is forestry. And then the intent of the forestry character area is to establish and preserve areas for forestry and timber cultivation and related uses consistent with maintaining the land resources of the county. So with the staff analysis, I did my analysis based on the criteria that were established by the state of Georgia. And then the first criteria was to know whether the ATV activities is going to be contrary to the purpose of the ordinance. And based on my staff analysis, I came out with the analysis that the proposed inclusion of ATV activities may be considered contrary to the purpose of the zoning ordinance if it introduces impacts that are inconsistent with the surrounding land uses or the intent of the zoning districts. ATV use, if not carefully regulated, can produce elevated levels of noise, dust, and traffic, and may lead to conflict with nearby residential or agricultural uses. Again, however, if limited to guided recreational use only, with strict controls on location, hours, safety, and environmental impact, ATV activities may be reasonably compatible with the ordinance intent, provided all other conditions of approval are met and enforced. The second criteria under the state of Georgia that I considered with my analysis is to know whether the ATV activities are detrimental to adjacent properties or the general neighborhood. So the proposed addition of ATV activities to the existing special event venue may be detrimental to adjacent properties and the general neighborhood. Although the site is partially buffered by pine plantation, nearby residential properties including 528 Garden School Road and parcels off Massey Drive are in proximity and will likely experience the direct effect of increased activity on the property. ATV may also bring significant concern related to noise, dust, and traffic, all of which can disrupt the rural character and quiet enjoyment of the nearby homes. The third criteria I also considered was to know whether these ATV activities are going to constitute to a nuisance or a hazard. And of course, all uses can become or be perceived as nuisances. But then the ATV use can raise safety, noise, and dust concern, which I spoke about earlier. But if all these conditions I spoke about earlier are met and enforced, this will not constitute to a nuisance. And then the fourth one, is on whether the ATV activities are going to have an effect on the existing land uses. Yes, so the addition of ATV activities for business may significantly affect existing uses on and around the property. While the site may be sufficient in acreage to accommodate event-related use under previous special exception, the activity of ATV operations represents a new intensity of use that may exceed what the lot can reasonably support without causing off-site impact. And also carefully looking at the application that Mr. Willie Quayle submitted to us, I realized that the application does not provide explanations as to how the lot will be managed to separate ATV activities from other event operations. So without such details, it is unclear whether the property can adequately accommodate this additional use while protecting the neighboring properties and maintaining safe and functionable access. All other potential requirements could involve additional payment of the occupational tax, building permits, land disturbance permits, etc. Many of these requirements may be triggered by approval of the special exception request. With this, staff recommends that if the special exception request is approved, the following conditions should be met or be required. That is, firstly, ATV use on the property be limited to guided recreational riding only. No racing, competitions, exhibitions, or similar motorized events are permitted. Secondly, all ATV activities must be conducted in accordance with a written safety guide developed by the owner, and this guide shall include 1. Mandatory use of helmets and appropriate protective gear. Age restrictions for riders. Basic ATV operation and safety training requirements. And lastly, designated riding areas and permitted hours of operation. The third requirement is ATV riding areas shall be clearly marked on site, located away from adjacent residential property lines, and designed to minimize noise and dust impacts. The fourth requirement is that the owner shall coordinate regularly with the Lincoln Park Volunteer Fire Departments to establish emergency response plans and arrange familiarization tours with the Sheriff's Office and AmeriPro EMS. My fifth requirement is that the ATV operations shall be limited to the hours between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. unless otherwise approved by the Upson County Board of Commissioners. The sixth one is the inclusion of all ATV activities does not alter any other conditions of approval associated with the original special exception for indoor-outdoor special event except as modified by this recommendation. And of course, violation of these conditions may result in revocation of the special exception by Upson County Board of Commissioners. Therefore, the Planning Commission may recommend approval with conditions or denial of the request. The decision must be based upon the special exception criteria and other pertinent factors. Mr. Chairman, here is the area photo of the property. And this photo here represents a cemetery that was found on the property during our field trip. And we find out that there's only one burial on that cemetery. And these are the on-site photographs on the property. Mr. Chairman, here is the end of my presentation for Willie Quiller's request.
Thank you very much. We have Mr. Willie Quiller signed up to speak for. Would you like to step up?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I guess we're going to open the public hearing. I'm sorry, we should have started with that. Open the public hearing on this matter. No, we're not going to open up the public hearing on your case here.
Opinion about it.
All right, you're allowed 5.
I make a motion to open the public
Okay.
hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jeff.
You want to go ahead and speak?
Well, okay, yes, you're allotted 5 minutes to speak. You speak directly to us, and then we'll may ask questions after you get through.
Okay. First of all, it doesn't have that many people coming down there. Most people come down there just a neighbor's kid. Only thing I see when I'm out there is a little hand go up and they just come down there and ride like it's theirs, and I don't say anything. And if people would have a birthday party or some type of event down there, and they want to bring their 4-wheelers, and I also have 4-wheelers, I let them use them too. I'm not gonna lie, everybody was saying that you can take donation, but I ain't wanna do that. I wanna go through the right procedure to do anything. When they come down there and ride my four-wheelers or whatever, soon as it started getting dark, I get them up and down there on four-wheelers. For sure night and all that, not in front of me, but what they doing when they get out of my sight, kids are gonna be kids, that's all I gotta tell you like that. Before it's a lot of dust, I hadn't seen it but one time down there, since I've been down there. Before it's all this other nonsense stuff, it ain't finna happen, not down on my property. They don't be down there running around all that, and all these people's coming down there, 20 or 30, I never had that many down there, but people's gonna complain about anything. Now, if you can say you're gonna give away $1, somebody gonna come and complain about it, they want to. So people's gonna be people's anyway. But before that, it's just a place for people to go and enjoy themselves. And they really come down and enjoy themselves. And like I said, that's all I got to say, that's all I want. So if they were coming down now, why not charge them if I can?
Okay, well, any questions from board members?
I don't have any.
Oh, you and I had a chance to speak the other day when I saw you, and you'd mentioned to me that you basically just gonna have them riding your four-wheelers. I didn't understand that you were having them as an open, just bring your four-wheeler and ride it on any given day or any given time. I was understanding that it was only during your events at your venue that you were gonna allow that. Are you wanting to allow them to ride at any given time?
Excuse me, just the weekend, they're not coming down there
I
through the
know,
week.
but any given weekend, the ability to come down and ride.
Yes, but they ain't gonna come down on no 10 acres when they can go somewhere and get 100 acres and all that. The only thing they do, they bring their kid or they might come with their girlfriend, and that'd be it. Yes, that'd be it, far as I know, but they ain't come down there on no 10 acres, man.
Mr. Quiller, one of the questions that I had is that it's saying like the outskirts of your property. What kind of buffer is between your property and another man's property?
Nothing but one house down there. When you're coming in, when you entering there.
I mean, what I'm saying is there like a wood line between like you and if I live next door, is there like a buffer between your house and my house?
There's no house next to that on
Okay.
my property, no house.
Okay.
You can hear, look a mile away, but you know, you're gonna
Right.
complain, people gonna complain about anything.
And I know the hours, it said until 7, but I know
It'll be fine.
sometimes during the year it gets dark at 5:30.
They out and down
So
there.
you could
Yes.
be gone before dark.
Positive.
Okay.
They out and down there, dog. Positive.
Okay, any other questions? I don't know that, I mean, I don't, I'm a little bit misunderstanding what you're saying, because if you're only gonna have people there that are hosting events, there's one thing. But just saying that, hey, you can come down here and ride on the weekends, pay, not pay, that's an ATV park. And I don't think that's in Upson County is something that is really, we're set up for or would.
10 acres, I mean, what is it?
Well, I know, but when you open it up, just to say, okay, well, you can come down here and ride, we're gonna charge you to ride. You know, when you have an event there, this is my thoughts, if you have an event there, you know, you've got 25, 30 people that are coming, you know, hey, can we bring our machines and ride, that's one thing. Versus having an ATV park.
What is the difference in there? All depending on how many people.
Because
you
they have
down.
rented the property for a specific purpose for one thing, and it's a little bit different when you open it up, just say, okay, you could just come ride on the weekends if you want to and not reserve the venue. That's my thoughts. I don't know where anybody else, if they have any thoughts on that part of it. I don't know that I have a problem you having somebody down there, my personal side, you know, when they rent the space, but just an open invitation for people to come ride when they want to, I can't particularly support that.
It just be on Saturday.
Hey, well, I know, but still, that's an ATV park versus a venue.
Why are we so against that? Every town has that, city has that.
I'm an avid ATV
Up to
person, we
about
ride a lot, and it just, I mean, we've never really particularly approached this in Upson County as being a good thing, you know.
I mean, why though? That's your opinion though. Everybody else I talk.
I know, I'm speaking my
You
opinion.
ain't you ain't that but a handful of people deciding what we can do and what we cannot do.
I guess my thought on it is that if you do allow, you know, like even if it's the neighborhood children or what have you down there riding, I mean, as a mom, I would be very concerned about their safety if someone got hurt and I know you're gonna respond to that because I know Miss Debbie very well. and I-
Reasonable. What you saying is reasonable. If they think their kid's gonna get hurt, then why did they buy them? I'm just asking you. If I figure
That
their
is
kid's
true
gonna hurt, they
now.
ought to not buy them. That
And,
ain't
and
my
I'm
problem.
one that owns ATVs and buggies and all that, nothing like Mr. Chairman Fallon, but, it's, I mean, I would just be concerned, if I were you, allowing people just to ride. And
I
that's
ain't
just
giving
me.
permission. If they wanna go ride my neighbors and they get hurt, why should it be on me? I'm just asking a question.
I mean,
That's your kid. You should be worrying about it, not me.
well,
I'm just
exactly.
asking a question. Tell it
Yes,
like it is. That's your kid.
Right.
If you don't want your kid over, why you got your kid leaving out of your yard? I'm just asking a question like you do. If you scared he's gonna get hurt, keep him at home.
I mean, his time's up, but we're asking questions. I mean, if anybody got any other questions that they want to bring
That's where
forward?
That ain't my kid. That's your kid. If you don't want him over there, leave him at home.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Plum.
Yeah.
Do we have any motions one way or other here, or any discussions?
We need to hear opposition.
Okay, I ain't got anybody signed up for opposition.
Okay.
Got nobody signed up for opposition. But any discussion that we,
I mean, as far as my discussion, Chairman Fallon, I mean, I think that if it's a venue, I don't have a problem with it as long as it's slated hours. But if it's just open to, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 people going down there riding, I think, yes, that's considered ATV riding, which could be a noise ordinance for the neighboring people, because ATVs are very loud as well, you know that.
I think it's predominantly a residential area. I went down there. And I think it would have a negative impact to the neighboring residents.
The Cuban government, why don't we vote on
I'm
that?
sorry, we can't, we're beyond the question part. We're having board discussion. So do we have any motions in which way?
Make a motion to deny. Oh, sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
We need to close the public hearing.
Okay. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Any motions on,
I'll make a motion to deny the applicant the use of the ATVs and charge for the ATVs on this property, the special, deny the applicant.
A second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I vote.
Yes, sir. Unanimous, yes, sir.
Mr. Lee, as you heard, your application has been recommended for denial.
It's fine.
Yeah, but you still have to go for a commission meeting on the 26th of August, 2025.
For what?
This is a recommendation of the planning commission. They don't make the final decision, so this is a recommendation. And I believe Pearl has told you that the meeting that you will have final decisions with the board of commissioners in August 24th, I
But if
believe.
y'all done denied it now, what I'm coming down for?
Well, again, this is
You
a
gonna deny it
recommendation.
again. If you recommend it now, y'all, I got something to say, then I'm out of here. Why are you saying the neighbors, I'm gonna come up here, I'm not mad or nothing like that. Why are you talking about, I'm talking to all y'all. Why are you talking about the neighbors going, right? Why not let the neighbors vote on that, get a petition, if I bring a petition up here instead of
I'm
5
sorry,
people
this is the
saying-
process that it goes through in Upson
Yeah,
County, and I'm
process.
sorry, we've closed it and we've ended it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's where
No,
it
so
is.
you need to,
though.
you gotta quit
Y'all
talking,
goddamn,
you've gotta quit talking and leave, sir.
well,
Thank you.
y'all, then I'm out of here, then, okay.
Again, Mr. Quiller, August 26th, this will be on the agenda for the board.
Ain't that for me to come up here for the August 26th. F y'all, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Quiller.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our next agenda here, which is the special exception on applicant, property owner Clark's Chapel Baptist Church has requested approval from Upson County for a special exception for a multi-purpose building use on 2 acres at 176 Mathis Lake Road. The property is zoned AR. The building would be across the street from the church itself. AR zoning district 504B1, Upson County zoning ordinance, UCZO. This church is permitted usage which may be approved by special exception.
Mr. Chairman, I am a member of Clark Chapel Baptist Church, so I'm going to excuse myself from this and will set in audience.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, I have a motion to open the public hearing on,
I move we open the public hearing.
second, all in favor? No. Okay, we actually don't think we've got anybody signed up.
Staff to give a report.
Yeah, we'll get the staff report, but I'm saying I don't think we've got anybody signed up to speak in favor of it or against it, either one, so let's move on to the staff report.
So my second case is on SBS 2025-04. That is a request submitted by Grace Chapel Baptist Church for a section to construct a multi-purpose building, which is across the existing church. And this building will support the youth programs, church events, and homecomings. This property will be located at, or it is already located at 176 Mattis Lake Road on a 2.8 acres of land, and it is also zoned as AR, which is agricultural residence. And the parcel also does not lie within a special flood hazard area. On site, we have a football field, a washroom, and a well. And then to the north of the property is a single family home and an RV lot. To the east of the lot is a single family home also. To the south is where the Grace Chapel Baptist Church itself is, and it is also wooded. And then to the west is a single family home as well, and all are zoned AR. The current character area map designation for the Grace Chapel Baptist Church is rural residential. And the intent of a rural residential areas is to preserve established neighborhoods and foster quality new development that respects the prevailing single-family character with traditional building materials and site design. Also, based on the criteria that was established by the state of Georgia, I did my staff analysis with that. So the first criteria was to know whether the multi-purpose building church that Grace Chapel wants to construct is contrary to the purpose of the ordinance. And based on my analysis, I said churches are allowed by special exception in AR districts. So the proposed multi-purpose building complements the church mission, which means that the location and the use are consistent with the ordinance under the appropriate conditions. Also, as this multi-purpose building church detrimental to adjacent properties or the general neighborhood, the proposed building is not expected to be detrimental. The site layout includes setbacks and buffers. Traffic and parking will be managed to reduce neighborhood disturbance. So, to me, there's no adverse effect identified. And the third analysis is based on whether this multipurpose building also constitutes a nuisance or a hazard. And of course, all land uses by their nature have the potential to create impacts, some of which may be perceived as nuisances. But if properly designed, managed, and operated, the proposed facility, which is the multipurpose building, should not constitute a nuisance or hazard when evaluated by a reasonable standard. And in this case, staff is unaware of any complaints submitted to code enforcement related to current activities on that property. Also, staff has no information suggesting that the Upson County Sheriff's Office has received any complaint concerning the site as of now. Therefore, with these conditions in place, site layout, traffic control, appropriate infrastructure, and the absence of prior complaints, the proposed facility is not expected to constitute a nuisance. or hazard to the surrounding area. The third analysis is based on the fourth criteria with state of Georgia, which is whether it has effect on existing land uses. So the 2.8 acre site is of sufficient size to accommodate the proposed multipurpose building, parking areas and septic system while maintaining appropriate setback from the property lines. So given the large lot size and the central placement of the structure, there is minimal anticipated impact on adjacent properties or existing land uses. And so the proposed use will be required to meet all applicable state regulations. These include obtaining necessary building permits, complying with state laws regarding occupancy, fire safety, sanitation, and all other relevant structures regulations. Many of these requirements will be triggered upon approval of the special exception request. So staff recommend that if the special exception request is approved, the following conditions should be met or required. That is 1, site plan approval. Secondly, maximum occupancy. Thirdly, parking requirements, ingress and egress. We have the noise and hours of operation, compliance with all applicable codes, no commercial use, and of course a building permit must be obtained within 6 months of the Board of Commissioners' approval of this special exception. The building must be completed and have received its certificate of occupancy within 36 months of the special exception approval, or the special exception shall be considered null and void. So with this, the Planning Commission may recommend approval with condition or denial of the request. The decision must be based upon the special exception criteria and all other pertinent factors. This is the area photo of the property. And following are the on-site photographs. Mr. Chairman, that brings me to the end of my presentation.
Okay. We have nobody signed up to speak for or against, so we have a motion to close the hearing.
I'm moving to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any board discussion
I
on
do
this?
have one question.
Mhm.
We put a 299 occupant limit on here. Is that based on a set of drawings they submitted with an occupancy load?
Yes.
Or are we just determining that on our own?
We sort of got the cart before the horse on this project in that the building permit was submitted before this was considered. And normally, this actually would not be coming before you as a special exception because it would be associated with an established church. But the church is across the street on a separate piece of property. So I basically decided, I think, to do this as open and honestly as we can and to make it apparent. And plus, that building by itself wouldn't be allowed there. It's only the fact that it's associated with the church, but it's not on the property. So that's why we're here. But this sort of was triggered by a building permit application, so that's where some of the figures came from. I mean, we can, delete that. I mean, if they change the plans, obviously occupancy might change, but that was what was in the
Well, they
building.
would still have to come back through with the plan change, right? I was just trying not to lock them into something that, but if they've already submitted that, asked for that.
So they've already got a site plan that you've seen.
I haven't seen the site plan. We've got the elevation drawing that's in there, but I haven't seen an actual site plan that's got the parking and any drainage, stormwater, or anything like that. So
Yeah,
no,
I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about not not worried about it, just asking a question. Do we have a site plan of the ingress and egress proposed? And then the building occupancy load, and then parking, because I'm sure there's parking calculations with that building that they can meet. Again, I want to be transparent, make sure that we're meeting all the standards and requirements that are here. So,
We can put that in as a condition for approval, which,
but obviously, one thing that I am concerned about, and maybe we can have one of the applicants or the church members come up and explain. It says a building permit must be obtained within 6 months of the Board of Commissioners. Mr. Courier, is that possible if they haven't gotten the plans completely done?
Well, again, the
Your
site,
review time would factor in that and them having a full set of plans to turn in.
I think that it can be done in 6 months, but if you want to give them more.
No, I just want to make sure to give them plenty of time.
Yeah, they've already submitted their application, but
Okay.
no, there was not a site plan, and that's why it's an issue in the staff report.
Again,
Mr. Courier, I know that Mr. Jordan, he held up something like maybe he might
got a
have a
site
site plan.
Well,
Is that
but he
something
didn't sign
that
up
you
to
can see?
speak, so, but like I said,
All the things that are being asked, I guess that does bring me to another question. Have we approved the building permit without a site plan tonight?
No, all of this was once I was alerted that a building permit application had been submitted, our clerk, Guadalupe Aragon, alerted me and said, well, wait a minute, we've got a different step that we've got to do first, and that's why we're here.
So they're still going to have to submit a site plan and everything?
Right, basically, in my
To
opinion,
Marty's
we have an
point.
incomplete application right
Okay.
now, because at least right now, we have basically, I think, a survey that was done sometime in the past, but we don't actually have a site plan.
and that was one of the things Pearl would suggest, is that they come back to us with a complete site
I
plan.
understand.
We
I just want to
can-
make sure I understood
Yep.
where the current status was.
Mm.
I don't have any further questions. I think you're right, we got the cart before the horse, but we can fix that real quickly.
Mhm.
So, I have no further comments.
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. We have any motions?
A motion we approve?
Approve it with the conditions.
With the conditions that they put forward, that Ms. Pearl put forward for us? Okay.
I'll second that.
No.
All in favor?
Uh,
So that's voting to approve with the conditions that was put forth.
Unanimous, thank you.
Okay. So that,
Your special exception case has been approved with conditions. And so it will move forward to the Board of Commissioners. So on the 26th of August, you will have a meeting with the Board of Commissioners exactly at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, do I bring the site plan there? Would that be?
I would turn it in prior. I would turn it in prior.
Okay.
yeah.
Go ahead and fill it to Mr.
Yeah,
Courier's
if we
office.
can, we might be able to speed things up if we get it between now and August 26th.
Yes.
Okay.
You have it tonight if you want.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, it's exciting.
Okay.
I'm glad to see that. I played a lot of softball on that field and volleyball, and
I think we all did.
We're still gonna play volleyball, softball went out tonight.
yeah, it did. Thank y'all.
Okay. Anybody wants to leave before we move to our next, back up to our next portion? Okay, moving back to our old business is the subdivision ordinance amendments, the public hearing. We've been continuing for quite a while now, and hopefully we're gonna start trying to get some things resolved and get this thing put to bed. Most of my board members know, we had requested a meeting with the county, our board with the county commissioners, to sit down and have an open discussion about this, and for some reason or other, Chairman Brew and Jason Tinsley chose not to, and decided to have a meeting with just Steve and I and Commissioner Ellington and Commissioner Brew and Jason. We were able to work out some, pretty good, I'll talk about a lot of things in that meeting. And at this point, I think the best thing for our board is to try to plan a work session or a planning session to sit down and go over a lot of this stuff. I did back, we still open, yes. So, do we have any public comments? Did we, people want to speak for? Okay, would you like to?
Read over. Public hearing.
It's saying we've been continuing it, we never have closed it.
That's true. Never closed. That's
Yes,
true.
been open. All right. State your name and address and speak directly to us, please. You're limited to 5 minutes.
Okay. I wasn't involved in this whenever the original discussion occurred earlier, but I read through what's posted on the Planning and Zoning Commission website as the proposed amendment. And what I'm seeing, it appears to be that the ADU, that's the new word, takes the place of the guest house.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I-
Accessory dwelling unit is what that,
Yeah, I really like that. But one of the things that I saw in comparing the ADU with the different zonings is that for AR, the ADU is different than it is from the R1, the R2, and the R3. Doesn't exist on the R4 and the R5. But the ARC says that it can be used. The part about it not being used for rental property was struck through. And so that, I don't understand that. And the other part that was a little bit different was that on AR, the positioning, how far away from the principal dwelling it was 200 feet, not 20 feet or 40 feet. 200 is way different than 20 or 40. So I just basically am interested in the reason behind that such difference for AR. I live in AR. I'm interested particularly in AR.
Mr. Doug, could you elaborate on that, no, Pearl?
Number one, a whole lot of decisions have been discussed that would alter everything that was in the draft from almost a year ago. We actually got a lot of opposition, and again, the current code says 200 feet for the guest quarters only in AR. And we got a lot of people who objected that. You actually at one point had a variance request that never completely finished. We got a staff report, and I think there was an agenda item, and then they dropped out of that. So in the thoughts and the very popular questions that we get about ADUs and such things, we just figured with the objection to the 200 feet, let's propose something closer. I'm not sure there's any science, 220 or 40 or anything like that. There was a request for distance. Sometimes they would say, well, I want it really close because it's for my elderly mother-in-law or mother or father, whoever, and I don't want them to have to walk 200 feet. So obviously, we need to come up with standards, and there's no science to those numbers. And then, again, we almost, right now, we're not even sure what the minimum square or acreage is going to be in these zoning districts anyway. So I certainly think that let's decide whether we're altering or changing what those minimum acreages are, and then we can decide is 20 feet still appropriate despite needing 3-5 acres. We want to go back to the 200. I can just tell you by experience that we got a lot of pushback verbally from that 200 feet. Then some people did it, if they had adequate property. I think if your justification is that I want another part of the family there, that's one thing. But I think we all know that as property turns over, somebody else will be occupying that property. And in terms of the deleting the renting, number one, I think a lot of people, if the family member leaves, moves out, especially if it's a younger person, what I'm going to do with this extra house, I'm going to want to make some income off of it, and they're probably going to rent it out. And then there's the enforceability. I mean, it's just not enforceable. It would be way too difficult. It's very nice that that was in there, and that might have even been a 1995 original part of the code, but it's just not enforceable. And I think a lot of people, that's the purpose of it. If the relative leaves that it was intended for, why not rent it out and make some money?
Okay.
But if why in AR but not in R1, R2, and RE? I mean, I
The size of the lots, the size of the lots, the size of the lots.
Right, I think.
Yes, that was the reason that when you have a smaller lot, it's really hard to have ADUs, is what that ties to.
Oh, or, and any other proposals, or is there anything for rental properties in any of ours? I know Pike County has rental property ordinances for this.
No, not at this time.
Okay. I just thought that was extremely different. Might be all that I wanna. Let me ask this then about, I know when we were talking about guest houses back when, somebody said something about a pool house, that the guest house was the same as a pool house.
That's ADU.
So, pool houses have to be a minimum of 400 square feet now?
Well, that's what we will be discussing, that type of thing. And like I said, if you have a
That seems
suggestion, you're
large.
welcome to send us that suggestion. But then you're out of time on your speaking time. Like I said, anything you've got, you can always email Doug and then we'll send it to the office. And think suggestions that you have of what you would like to see, or anybody what you'd like to see, y'all can always email them and we will be looking at those as we work forward on these amendments.
Okay, that's all.
And in the meeting that we had with them, I think that the general consensus was to try and take AR to 5 acres and moving the square footage up to 1,400 square foot, and putting a limit on the ADU size based on the house size. That's some of the things that came up in our meetings. And some of the things we would have to discuss too would be fences and other outbuildings other than ADUs. It was in our booklet, they had brought up potential for an RE zoning, which was a little bit, I think, confusing to all of us, residential estate, and the talk of maybe moving it to RR, or even the possibility of just doing away with that altogether because of the confusing issue of it, if you have everything, you're creating a new zoning with the RERR versus just leaving it at AR like it is. And things that, if you had to make some changes or we're looking at subdivisions, special exceptions. What else, Steve? Let's see that. Subdivisions, we're trying to address.
Internal roads.
Yeah, internal roads, what size.
No private roads, all internal roads for access to subdivisions.
Doing away with, private roads, other than special exceptions on smaller subdivisions, but in larger subdivisions requiring, non-private roads. We'd look at considering what we consider large or small subdivisions, and the water access that we've dealt with in the past. Do we want to require water, county water on certain size subdivisions? Flag lots has also been brought up in this discussion, and I think we pretty well all have agreed that flag lots need to go.
Other than there has to be a pathway for special exception if it's a family trying to.
There's a hardship that a piece of property can't be
It's a
utilized.
hardship.
In serial splitting, we definitely want to prevent serial splitting in some form. And like I said, I think I'd love for us to be able to set up time for a planning session for us. If we think that's possible tonight. Does anybody have, do we want to do a daytime meeting or nighttime evening meeting? And I think would it be open to public? Was that,
If you have a workshop with quorum, as you know, that was.
that was the
came up
issue with
before.
the commissioners.
With quorum, they may attend, but you don't
Can't
entertain
speak,
any
okay.
speaking. They have to be an audience only, unless you open it up to comments.
Does anybody have a particular time?
I would say that probably the next 3 or 4 weeks I'm gonna be unavailable. Got something I gotta take care of. So it'd be 3 or 4 weeks before I could be available.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Marty.
Okay,
I'm
we
trying
want
to
to try to push out and go ahead and set a date?
If you're gonna set it for me, it's gonna have to be sometime,
August 11th, the week of that's outside of what you just mentioned.
I was gonna say it's going to be mid or late August before I could do anything.
Like I said, I'd love to go ahead and let's set a time for the meeting. That just make sure that
What day is that, August 11th?
That's a Monday, that's like we have a meeting on August 11th.
Yeah, that's the same day.
We could actually do it after the meeting, I mean, we're all here anyway. This
I
week.
think it's gonna take a little longer than us sitting around in the evening
Mhm.
after this meeting,
Okay.
I believe.
I mean, to me, I think it's gonna have to be a really in-depth conversations. I would prefer morning if it was feasible for everybody else.
I'm fairly flexible.
I think I'm pretty much
Yeah.
open in August, except for the 21st. Commissioner Rush and I are going to a training. I think it's the 21st,
Boy,
right?
howdy, we do have that, don't we?
Huh?
I said, we do have that, don't we?
Yes, we do. Just a reminder, put it right now.
Probably something in the neighborhood of a couple of hours, maybe.
Mondays is usually pretty tough on me.
What about a Tuesday?
Tuesdays are fine.
12th, 19th?
The 12th is a good day for me.
Yeah, any Tuesday in August, I'm okay
Okay,
with.
did we want to do morning, evening?
Depends on who's buying breakfast.
I'll bring biscuits.
Commissioner Hilton, you good with that Tuesday?
Yeah, I can make that work.
Okay, Tuesday, 12th, all right, we're doing morning, evening. Yeah,
Morning's better.
okay. Early, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock,
About 9.
8,
We
9?
can get our day
Okay,
started.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
okay. August
That way
12th,
everybody's on fire with it.
9 o'clock, we're gonna do it here?
Yes.
Okay,
Well, we'll find a more comfortable
I was
room.
fixing to say, let's find a conference table.
It's like
Yeah.
an airport.
Well, we still got that conference room where we used to use over there.
Who knows, but we'll try with that one that's in the Drake building. If that
Yes.
doesn't work, we'll find another location between here and
Jack
even the
since you
senior
mentioned the
center.
airport.
I would propose to use our nice fine judicial building.
I'll ask.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay, then we've got it set for August 12th at 9 o'clock, the location
Location to be
TBD, yeah, that works, at least we've got something down. So do we need a motion here
Close
to,
public first.
or do we want to close the public hearing, would that be
Oh,
appropriate?
I don't think you want to do that.
Okay. Yeah, keep it open, keep.
You have, after you close the public hearing, you have 30 days to make a final decision on
Okay,
everything.
all right, so we're gonna definitely leave it open here with this, and like I said, we will have a planned work session without public comment, public's welcome to attend, but, unable to comment. Any questions from anybody on any of that?
I don't.
Okay,
We'll communicate with you by email. Right now, we've got the August 12th, 9 a.m., preferably at the new Justice Center. I'm very unfamiliar with how you book rooms there, so I'll have to learn if that's a possibility, but we'll go forward with that and get it arranged, and we'll communicate. We'll certainly try to nail this down ASAP, and we'll communicate with you, and if anything comes up that doesn't work, we'll let the chairman know, and we'll try to figure out what we can do otherwise.
okay, well, then we're gonna move on to item number 7, other business. Do we have any other business that needs to be brought up? Mr. Secretary, or any commissioners?
None from the secretary.
Okay. Okay, any planning commission announcements or issues? Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to close the hearing. Close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Adjourn at
Hang on.
6:23.
Okay, we'll kill the camera. Okay, what was your question, Sonny?
If you're